What's going on, everyone? So there's some people that wanted me to cover this Black Myth Wukong drama, get into it, and give my balanced take on it. And here's my thing. One thing that I think that people are absolutely wrong about is just blaming Microsoft and pointing the finger at them when we need to see both sides of the picture and see where both are wrong in certain contexts and how there's also some misunderstandings. You know what I mean? Just to start this off to let you guys know, when I get into something, I like to be experienced too. As you see, I got almost 41 hours on Black Myth Wukong. I did this a while ago. I beat the game. Obviously, you see, I have 54%. I played it on PC. I pretty much played it. I wouldn't say on max settings because the game was not fully optimized. And but I got pretty close. You know what I mean? Like I was definitely playing on like nothing was lower than high. You know what I mean? And I was doing like 16, 1800p or whatever. Fantastic game. I wouldn't say, let me go down this so you can see that. I wouldn't say that I'm done, as you see right here. 2 minds long, but one to stay. I beat the game right there. I had waited an entire month or a little bit because we can go back to some earlier achievements that I had. You see those back in August. I had the game since day one, but I felt like it wasn't optimized. So I waited on some patches. I was like, okay, now it's better optimized. Let me jump back in and finish the game. Not that I wanted to leave it, but there's so much content today that everything's fine. But and it's also a massive, game. And by that time, Black Ops was out, all these other games. I was like, oh my God, my freaking SSD 1 terabyte is getting 8 alive. So let me make some space. But we're gonna be coming back to this when we get an expansion. But I'll just let y'all know I have my experience on it. Love the game, definitely not overrated. But getting back to this, and that's why I want to talk about optimization. The reason why it's not on Series S is because the game was not fully optimized itself. So when you see the director here say, the director of Black Myth Wukong confirmed today that the game isn't on Xbox due to Xbox Series S, sure, 10 gigabytes of RAM. It's not because they can't make it happen, but it's just because these developers are also new. It's not like they have a long history in gaming, right? They first started off with their first game on Unreal Engine 5. You know how tough Unreal Engine 5 is, right? Till they come out with that new update that they say they were going to come out with. It's not easy, and this is their first game, so it's not necessarily just because the Series X has 10 gigabytes of RAM, because we'll see games like GTA get on there and other games that look better than Black Wukong that are running on there fine right now. It's a matter of, man, we have all these different settings right in front of us. This is our first time being a developer. I got to do the Series S. I got to do the PC, all these different settings from NVIDIA and AMD. I got to do PlayStation 5. Now I'm doing PS5 Pro and Xbox Series X and all that. That was a lot for them. They're not a huge team either, so it's going to take some time. You know what I mean? If we go down to the quote that he said, here he is right here. Although there were no big surprises, I still felt a little emotional after getting all of them. Everyone's fighting power is so terrifying, but the only thing missing is the Xbox robe. It seems a bit wrong, but that's 10 gigabytes of shared memory. It's really impossible to get it without several years of optimization experience. Is he over exaggerating a bit? Yeah, because it's not going to take several years to do that. It's going to be coming this year. You know what I mean? So one thing that I will say is wouldn't say he's lying, but he's just over exaggerating, and that the statement made by Microsoft is probably a misunderstanding. And could that spark some things too? I can't say that they're right for that because you said that the reason why is because Sony paid for something. I don't agree with that because I have Black Myth Wukong on PC and I have a 4070, right? And I have a CPU, a Ryzen 9 Zen 4 CPU that came out last year that goes all the way up to 5.3 gigahertz, right? It just literally destroys the CPU on the PlayStation. My 4070 is better. I got 32 gigabytes of RAM. You know what I mean? I got NVIDIA systems, and it was having some damn issues. So, and this game was first and foremost targeted for PC. When the PS5 version launched, the Metacritic was like 11 points lower than the PC version because it was just optimized so poorly. Like the game was not done, you could tell, but they did what they could to get it out, and it's better now, but it's still not fully optimized. So why would the Series S be ready then? It's not ready. I can't say that that is not true because from our own experience by playing the game, we know this at the beginning that it's because these developers are not the masters at optimizing at the moment. They're also new, so we need to give them a little bit of, cut them a little bit of slack because of that. Now, these people sitting over here fanboy warring over that is absolutely dumb. And like I said, it doesn't surprise me coming from the PlayStation community because they're very immature. Not people that just enjoy it and are just probably watching and just like, yeah, I hope they get the game, maybe. Because they're just gamers. They want a game, right? And they just happen to like PlayStation. But they're not being toxic fanboys. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, grow up. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to kind of jump in and say, hold on, we can look at both sides and see that they're not fully experienced. He admits this here, that that's the way he sees it. Because if you saw somebody like, probably at Rockstar or, somebody at Naughty Dog or people that are very experienced and been in the industry for a long time or even Nintendo, right? You know what I mean? It's just an idea. That's when you realize that, yeah, they have a lot to still learn. It is possible. It's not impossible. But he's just saying that like, oh man, that's just going to be a pain, right? 10 gigabytes, because we already have all these settings that we've been doing for years on the 16 gigabytes. And now when I look at this 10 gigabytes, I'm like, oh man, you know what I mean? So he just kind of said that. And he's not wrong necessarily for doing that because some people would take things and blow it out of context because they're looking to dump on just Xbox just in general. Like they didn't give people a good deal for $300 for a Series S. That's still a pretty damn good deal. And it's been on sale cheaper than that. It's a steal. Obviously, I wouldn't get it. I bought the Series X day one and camped for it. Same thing for PlayStation 5, though I didn't get that day one because of the way Sony just randomly did stupid stuff. But the thing is that this game will be on the Switch too. Watch. Though that'll have 12 gigabytes of RAM. But that's my thing. It's like, okay, so just realize that they're not the best devs at optimizing, and they're new. And it's not criticizing them. It's just understanding that it's their first game. And that realized that the Series S is still a good console, though it may not be the best console to get the full optimizations on, but it's still a good entry point level unit for coming into gaming. And that Black Myth Wukong will probably run at 30 frames on it and be okay, and it'll still be a solid experience. They just want to make sure they're not launching a broken game. So it's not impossible. It's going to happen. And, just talk about what Microsoft said. I think that statement, I could say that they were wrong for that. So we could see where, like I said, both sides could have some issues. The reason why I say that statement is kind of stupid is because we're going to go over to this. This is the statement over here. Let's find it. First, let's just think about what I said about the Series S. Studios have been through one development cycle where the Series S turned out to be an albatross around the neck of production, and now games are firmly being developed with the new console in mind. Teams do not want to repeat the process, the developer said. And then go down here, this is what was said. As we have said before, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series X and S and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms, Microsoft has told IGN. Not Phil Spencer. We'd prefer not to comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders. This is where I feel like, wait, you said platform holders. It's only just PlayStation. PCs wouldn't make a deal to keep anything off of there. But we can confirm that the delay is not due to Xbox platform limitations that have been raised to us. That's an inaccurate statement. The reason why is because that is true. That they're trying to optimize for it. Because, hell, it barely made it to PlayStation 5 and a playable, so they had a lot of issues. So I can't agree with that. You know what I mean? We just got to set the record straight here. Everybody should be more honest about that. The game was not ready to be released on Xbox. Because it wasn't, hell, it wasn't even ready to be released on PS5. So, yeah, that's not an argument. That's just understanding that. Because like I told you, I had the game, I played it. Hell, I felt like it was rushed. It's Unreal Engine 5, it's not easy to develop for that. It's a very demanding engine, and it's also CPU heavy. So, I'm not saying that both of them are not capable of lying, because we both know that. But it's just we got to look at both sides very honestly. You see what I'm saying here? Not just say, oh, let's just point the finger at Xbox. It's like, well, if that's the case, that's like saying that Game Science is master developers, and you know what I mean? They didn't make any mistakes. I wouldn't really say that. You know what I mean? Because that's not necessarily the case here. So that's pretty much what you have to cover on this. I've seen other people actually talk about this too. I saw, Alex's video by people sitting over there just trying to say it's because of the Series S. I'm like, that's not necessarily the case, because there's people that could have, like, imagine like 90% of the games that have launched that have been there day one for PS5, Xbox Series X, and S day one, right? And there was no problem. It just ran at a little bit lower settings. And this is done on a lot of games that look very good. And these developers are good and they know what they're doing. Do I really need to like look up the games? No, just look it up, right? How many games do you think have launched day one, third party on PlayStation and Xbox, and be there for the Series S and there's no problem? It's happening every day. You know what I mean? So that's where I say that they just have a lot to learn. And that's kind of what I wanted to cover on this subject. So like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Like I said, I don't understand the fanboy war over this, except just the PlayStation fan base being toxic and ignorant as usual. And there's nothing wrong with the Series S. Definitely for the price model. I think it's a very good entry point, and it was Microsoft's way of probably trying to do a Nintendo-like entry. It worked out very well at the beginning, and it is kind of tanking now. Um, but my thing is, I think when it comes to this year, both of them need to do price drops, and we will be seeing Black Myth Wukong on Xbox. And like they said, you know, they're working closely with Microsoft, or Microsoft is working closely with Game Science to get it on there to help them, because they understand that console more. So yeah, that's exactly what you need to do to speed up the process. It's the right thing to do. But there we have it. I covered that. And that's pretty much what I have to say about that. It doesn't have to be anything crazy or negative or toxic. I'm not going to be attacking anyone in this video, but we know how the ponies are. All right, y'all. Peace.